60 seconds. That's the time it takes for a complete, finished car to roll off a BYD assembly line. 1 per minute. Millions per year. In the car industry, that should be a disaster, because speed is supposed to create mistakes. Mistakes create defects. Defects destroy reputations. And reputations destroy car companies. For decades, automakers accepted that trade-off. If you wanted quality, you slowed down. If you wanted speed, you accepted more risk. Every serious manufacturer in the world built their entire production philosophy around managing that tension. BYD appears to have broken that rule. Today, it builds millions of vehicles a year at a pace that should be creating problems everywhere. On the factory floor, in reliability data, in customer complaints, in recall notices. But the collapse never came. The question isn't how BYD builds cars so fast. The question is why producing a new car every 60 seconds isn't turning into a quality nightmare. Let's start with what BYD's production network actually looks like, because the scale matters before anything else makes sense. BYD doesn't operate one giant factory. It operates a web of manufacturing complexes across China: Shenzhen, Xi'an, Changsha, Hefei, Zhengzhou, each one producing different models for different markets. Some facilities cover more than 100,000 square meters. Some run multiple shifts around the clock. When you add it all together, the output is staggering. BYD sold over 3 million vehicles in 2023. By 2024, that number climbed higher still. The pace of production required to hit those numbers is almost difficult to visualize. But here's the first question the numbers raise: if you're building that many cars that fast, how do you keep them consistent? Because consistency is the quiet enemy of speed. You can build one car perfectly. You can build 10 cars perfectly. The moment you try to build 10,000 cars per day with the same quality, the variables multiply. Different workers, different shifts, different component batches, different temperatures affecting adhesives and seals, different supplier tolerances stacking on top of each other. In a normal factory, speed amplifies every one of those variables. So why isn't BYD seeing that amplification? The first clue is something most people outside the industry rarely think about: how much of the car BYD actually builds itself. Most traditional automakers are assemblers. They design vehicles, manage brands, handle marketing. But the actual components come from hundreds of external suppliers. An engine from one company, a transmission from another, seats from a third, electronics from a fourth. By the time a vehicle reaches the assembly line, thousands of individual parts have traveled from different factories, different countries, different quality control environments. The automaker's job is to fit them together and hope the tolerances match. BYD does something different. BYD manufactures an unusually high share of its own core components, including, critically, its own batteries. That's not a small detail. The battery in an electric vehicle isn't just a power source. It's structural. It affects how the car handles, how it charges, how it behaves in extreme temperatures, how long it lasts. When BYD builds its own blade batteries in its own facilities under its own quality standards, it removes an entire layer of supplier variability from the equation. Then adds semiconductors. BYD designs and produces a significant portion of its own chips, the components that control everything from the motor to the air conditioning to the driver assistance systems. Other automakers discovered how fragile external semiconductor supply chains were during the global chip shortage of 2021. BYD was less exposed than most, because it had already started pulling that production inward, and motors, and power electronics, and even some of the steel structures used in its vehicles. When you control this much of the supply chain, something changes fundamentally about what speed means. You're not racing to assemble components that arrived from 20 different suppliers with 20 different tolerances. You're moving parts through a system you designed, from factories you control, under conditions you set. Speed stops being the enemy of consistency. It becomes the product of it. But that still doesn't fully explain the 60-second car. Because controlling your supply chain doesn't automatically make your assembly faster. It removes one category of risk. It doesn't build the cars. What builds the cars is automation. And this is where BYD's factories start to look genuinely different from what most people picture when they think of a car plant. BYD has invested heavily in robotic assembly, not as a supplemental tool, but as the primary production method in key areas: welding, painting, battery assembly, final fit, and finish checks. In BYD's newer facilities, robots handle large portions of the work that human workers would traditionally perform. That matters for speed, obviously, but it matters more for consistency. A robot performing the same weld at the same pressure at the same angle 10,000 times a day doesn't get tired. It doesn't have an off day. It doesn't rush because the shift is ending. This is the part of the story that contradicts the assumption. The assumption is, fast production means workers under pressure. Workers under pressure make mistakes. Mistakes mean defects. But if the speed is driven primarily by automated systems operating within tightly controlled parameters, the human pressure variable changes. Workers in BYD's facilities are increasingly there to monitor, supervise, and intervene, not to perform every physical action themselves. The line moves fast because the machines move fast, not because humans are being forced into impossible rhythms. That distinction sounds simple. Its consequences are significant, because traditional automotive quality disasters, the ones that forced massive recalls, destroyed reputations, triggered lawsuits, often traced back to exactly that: human error under time pressure. The root cause investigations almost always found the same thing. Someone was going too fast, someone skipped a check, someone didn't catch a misaligned component because they were already 3 cars behind pace. Remove that failure mode from the equation, and speed becomes a different variable entirely. And yet, there's still something that doesn't quite add up, because automation alone doesn't explain BYD's production economics. Robots are expensive. The infrastructure to support advanced robotic assembly, the programming, the maintenance, the facility design, represents enormous capital investment. Traditional wisdom says that automation at this scale should make cars more expensive to produce, not less. And yet BYD's vehicles are frequently priced below what Western automakers can match. How does the cost structure work? This is where the investigation gets more interesting, because BYD's cost advantage isn't just about automation, it's about what happens when automation, vertical integration, and sheer production volume all compound on each other simultaneously. Consider the battery situation again. BYD doesn't just make its own batteries. It makes them at a scale that almost no other company on Earth can match. And in battery production, scale does something dramatic to cost. The materials, the chemistry, the manufacturing process, they all become dramatically cheaper per unit as volume increases. BYD is producing batteries for its own vehicles and selling battery packs and cells to other manufacturers. The volume required to serve both markets simultaneously drives its cost per kilowatt hour down to levels that external battery suppliers struggle to compete with. Then the same logic applies to chips, to motors, to power electronics. Every component BYD produces in-house benefits from scale effects that external suppliers can't replicate without BYD's volume. And because BYD is growing faster than almost any automaker in history, those scale effects compound every year. This is the structural advantage that's genuinely difficult for Western automakers to counter in the short term. It's not just that BYD is building cars faster, it's that the system producing those cars becomes more efficient the bigger it gets. Traditional automakers built their supply chains outward, distributing their volume across hundreds of external partners. BYD built its supply chain inward, concentrating volume to generate cost advantages at every layer. The 60-second car isn't the achievement. The 60-second car is the symptom of an architecture that took years to construct and is now running at a scale where its advantages become self-reinforcing. Western automakers understood this was coming. Some of them said so publicly as early as 2020. The response was largely to treat BYD as a Chinese market phenomenon, a company optimized for domestic conditions that would struggle to translate its model internationally. The Chinese market was enormous and growing, but it was also unique. Different consumer expectations, different regulatory environment, different dealer structures. Surely a company built for that environment wouldn't simply export its advantages to Europe and Southeast Asia and South America. That calculation is looking increasingly fragile. BYD's exports grew substantially in 2023. Its vehicles began appearing in European markets, in Australia, in Southeast Asia, in Latin America. Not in massive numbers yet, but in growing ones. And in most of those markets, the vehicles arrived with a competitive advantage that was hard to argue with. Capable products at prices that existing local manufacturers couldn't comfortably match. The response from established automakers shifted from dismissal to something closer to alarm. Legacy brands that had spent decades optimizing their assembly processes began asking questions they hadn't anticipated having to ask. How do you compete with a company that produces its own batteries, its own chips, its own motors, and its own vehicles, at a scale that makes each one of those activities cheaper than doing it through the normal supply chain? The answer so far is that most of them don't have a clear one. Some have announced battery joint ventures. Some have accelerated their electrification timelines. Some have lobbied for tariff protections, particularly in the European Union, where import duties on Chinese-manufactured electric vehicles were raised in 2024. But tariffs protect market share. They don't change the underlying production architecture. And they don't follow BYD into the markets where those tariffs don't apply. None of which means BYD's model is without vulnerabilities. There are risks that come with the architecture, even if they're different from the ones traditional manufacturing speed creates. Vertical integration means concentration. If something goes wrong with a critical material, lithium, cobalt, the chemicals used in battery production, BYD is exposed in ways that a more distributed supply chain might absorb differently. The company has moved aggressively to secure supply agreements for raw materials, including investing in mining operations, but the exposure exists. There are also questions about how the model performs under different kinds of quality pressure. BYD's vehicles have generally received positive reviews in their core markets, but sustained performance over years and hundreds of thousands of kilometers, the kind of durability data that takes time to accumulate, is still building. A brand establishing itself internationally doesn't just need good cars today. It needs cars that hold their reputation over the ownership cycle. And there's a geopolitical dimension that affects the business in ways that have nothing to do with production efficiency. BYD's primary manufacturing base is in China. Its growth into international markets is happening at a moment when trade tensions between China and major Western economies are elevated and rising. Policy decisions in Brussels or Washington can reshape market access in ways that no factory optimization can compensate for. These are real constraints. They're not the disaster that the 60-second production pace should theoretically create, but they're the category of risk that a company at BYD's scale now has to navigate. Here's what's actually happening underneath the surface of those production numbers. BYD didn't just build a fast factory. It built a different kind of automotive company, one that controls the critical technology layers of electric vehicles, produces them at a scale that makes each layer cheaper, and reinvests those cost advantages into further expansion. The 60-second car is possible not because BYD found a way to cut corners faster than anyone else. It's possible because the architecture removed entire categories of corner-cutting risk from the equation. The factories move fast because the supply chain is internal. The supply chain is internal because BYD decided early that the battery was too important to outsource. The battery became a competitive weapon because production scale drove costs below what the market expected. And now the whole system is large enough that entering it as a competitor requires rebuilding not just a factory, but the entire vertical structure that makes the factory's speed meaningful. Traditional automakers are facing something they haven't fully encountered before: a competitor whose advantage isn't a single product or technology, but a production architecture that becomes harder to match the longer it operates at scale. The question isn't whether BYD can sustain a car every 60 seconds. It clearly can. The question is whether the companies currently watching that number and feeling the pressure it represents have enough time to build a comparable answer. Right now, that answer is less clear than most of them would like. If you were running a legacy automaker today, what would your actual response to BYD's production model look like? Leave your thinking in the comments, because the strategies being discussed inside those boardrooms are a lot more complicated than the public announcements suggest. Thanks for watching.